To my channel, my name is Taylor, and today we're going to do a spring check-in vlog where I go through my bookshelves, my physical TBR, as well as my Kindle TBR to see where we're at currently. I was going to do a bit of a book unhaul, but I'm not completely sure if I'm going to get rid of any right now. But before we hop in the video, remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you love all things books. Alright, so I have recently moved things around in my room, so my books have moved to another shelf, and I have done a pretty recent book haul at the end of last year, and we're just only like a third of the way through this year, not even yet. Today is March 11th. Yeah, March 11th. So this is where I am as of right now. My birthday is coming up this weekend, so I expect to add more books to this shelf, but we'll see how that works out. But right now, I'm gonna flip this, put you on my tripod, and take you over to my new bookshelves to go through what I have. If you see any books flipped over, those books are S&P books, and we're not advertising those right now. So, without further ado, let's start going through my bookshelves. Alright, so here's my current bookshelf setup. That over there is my pen board. Ignore this little rip in the paint. We were moving things around yesterday and, things got chipped. So that'll eventually maybe possibly get fixed. But over here is, the first shelf is my queer books. The second shelf is my just regular non-queer books, from romance to fantasy to thriller to etc. Then the next shelf is my TBR shelf and my extra nonfiction. And then the bottom shelf is just overflow, like stationery, school things, and a bunch of like crafting paper, gift cards and stuff like that over there. So yeah, let's hop into the first shelf. So the first shelf, this is my queer bookshelf. Up here I do have a little Ariel Funko Pop. I do have the new Ariel, she's on my desk. And then I have two mini Disney books. And I used to work at Walt Disney World, so that's why you might see a bit of a Disney collection here. But I have 1 through 5 of Heartstopper. My goal is to get the novella, and I think, is it Solitaire? Tori's book. According to this, those two fall in this general timeline order. I should be reading those next. Then I have The Prince and the Dressmaker. I love this graphic novel. Great read. Kiss and Tell. Kiss and Tell is one that I've read recently. It might be on the chopping block for a later unhaul. It was cute, but, it just didn't necessarily pique my interest as much as all the other ones, or doesn't currently pique my interest. Fake Dates and Mooncakes. This is such a cute short read. These little underlined books, I don't know what's in them, but they're cute, they're short, I love them. Skipping that one, Never Been Kissed by Timothy Janofsky. You'll see I have a couple of his books on my physical TBR. Love this. It was his debut novel. Amazing. Another debut queer novel, Jay's Gay Agenda by Jason June. Love this. I have another one of his books on my physical TBR, but that's one at work. Ace of Spades. We're moving from the queer romance to the queer thriller / fantasy. This was definitely, the ending wasn't as crazy as I thought it'd be, but I think someone set it up for me to be crazier than it probably was. Love it. His Hideous Heart is a bunch of queer and BIPOC retellings of Edgar Allan Poe stories. These were a fun time. I think my favorite one was the retelling of Annabelle Lee. That was a good one. Yeah. I kind of want the secondary one, which I think is a retelling of Shakespeare stories. So, yeah. The Bone Spindle. This is a queer fantasy retelling of Red Riding Hood and Sleeping Beauty. So it follows one non-queer character and then one queer character. But this one was fun. I want to read the second book in the series to see if I'm, interested more in continuing with it. It definitely is like teetering on the to like ooh section. I don't know if that was very descriptive. Fresh. I just reviewed this in my recent wrap-up. This one, I don't know if I want to keep this one. It's a car crash. It was my first 3-star range book of the year. She's just, didn't handle things very well in there, I don't think, but trigger warning for essay in that one. Other Ever Afters. This is another graphic novel that has a queer and BIPOC retelling, queer, BIPOC, and feminist retellings of fairy tales, or just new fairy tales for us to look at. Very cute. The Atlas 6, I have the indie published version of that. I'm thinking I'm probably just going to have to buy the traditionally published versions of this because they're not going to match this, and I think I'm just going to need to go back and reread it. But I did really enjoy this one when I read it, and I want to read more Olivia Blake. Then we have The Ones We Burn by Rebecca Mix. This was a really good queer fantasy. I think it's a standalone, so I definitely suggest picking it up if you want to. I don't really know how much to say about this. I do have a review on it, though. Then these are my 2 queer nonfictions up here. Yeah, I love these little books here, and you'll see, yes, I have read both of these. Everything on this shelf has been read. So these books, definitely informative, very fun. This is a good, like, starter queer history. This is a more in-depth queer history book. Now moving on to the second shelf. We have my little cup here with all of my writing utensils. That was a gift from my roommate during our DCP. And then I have a little Squishmallow, which was also another gift from a roommate. This was a Valentine's Day gift. So over here we have the romance section. We have a holiday romance, the holiday switch. This is very cute, very short and sweet, but this definitely is more coming of age than romantic for me. It's also single POV. The Summer of Broken Rules from my Swifties out here. Kale Walther writes a series of Taylor Swift coded books. I think this is one of her earlier works, and I have her earliest work down here. This was a fun, cute little time. The Homecoming War. This is a very recent one. This is another underlined book, just like the Holiday Switch. It's a little longer. It has that coming of age aspect that this one had, but the romance definitely flourished in this one. This one does heavily deal with the topic of grief, though, so do be prepared. Another romance book that deals heavily with the topic of grief, A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow. You know I gave this book 5 stars. I won't stop talking about it. I can't wait for the movie. The fact that up here we have Kit Connor playing... But yeah, these 2, favorite YA book boyfriends. And the fact that he's playing both of them, great. Wildfire. I should just go ahead and buy Icebreaker. I read that on Kindle. But I really did enjoy Wildfire, maybe a little more than Icebreaker. These are just fun. If you want a romance series that deals with great communication skills, yes. My Roommate is a Vampire. I know a lot of people thought this was maybe a little bit cringy. And you know what? It's just vibes. It's just cutesy, sweetsy vibes. You know, I love a little... I'm not a huge cozy mystery or cozy fantasy person, but sometimes a quirky little romance that's a little more cozy, I love it. This was the first romance book that I truly ever read. I don't know why I was reading this in middle school or high school, but you know what? Love Rosie, she stays on the shelves. Unfortunately, I do have the movie cover. So yeah, it's just there for the memes. This is another recent 5-star read. That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemming. I have a goal to buy the other 2 in this series. This is a fantasy romance that is just fun, sexy, and it's a fun little romp. What can I say? I have read all of Lauren Asher's books. I only have the fine print though, so my goal is to fill out these shelves with the rest of her physical copies soon. Space here. So The Game of Desire by Shan Boudram. She is a YouTuber or social media content creator who talks all about sex and relationships, and I bought this. This is her second book, and I bought it years ago, like early college days. This is another first book. This is another childhood nostalgic book of mine that isn't in my nostalgia bin. It is just a cute little fairy story, and I like it. This was a gift from the same person who got me this from my DCP. This was our DCP roommates exchange gift, and it's just a little fairy gift talking about one of the fairies in Tinkerbell's Little World. The School for Good and Evil. I read this book because the movie was coming out. Obviously, the movie has come out. I really enjoyed it. I have the second book on my physical TBR. I'm just not sure if I'm going to continue on with the series. It's been on there for a while. Legend Born. Best book of 2023. Love it. You'll see down here, I have the second book. These 2, All Our Hidden Gifts and The Gifts That Bind Us. These are in the wrong order. I should have checked that. This is the first book. This is the second book. The third book, and I believe the final book, is out. It's just only out in hardcover right now. So when those come out, I will definitely read that. These do feature queer characters, but the queer character is not the main character of the story. So that's why they're not up here. But this is fun. It's witchy. It deals with magic a lot based in tarot magic and tarot cards. And these are just some good times. I will say this does deal with a lot of religious zealotism. So beware. Not talking about that. None Shall Sleep. This, if you are a Criminal Minds person, this one is for you. This one, just like Ace of Spades a little here, but this one in particular, because I read this one before Ace of Spades, this one got to a point where I was definitely feeling easy, like heart palpitations were going. So definitely check, possible trigger warnings for this one, because it is very graphic and it is gory. So do check that, but I definitely thought that was a good YA thriller. Then I have my copy of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. This is a book that I bought with my poppy years ago before he passed away.
And Alice is one of my favorite characters of all time, and it's one of my favorite stories of all time. So I do keep my copy on display at all times. This one, this was the one, I'm only halfway finished through that one, but it stays up there because I don't know if I'll finish it anytime soon. Then we have my favorite series from childhood and probably still of all time. I still haven't finished it. I have read all of these books, the 39 Clues series. I love it. I plan on continuing it and finishing it eventually. But yeah, these could be stacked a little better. In terms of my favorite books, Book 8 has always been my favorite book. I don't know why, but Book 8 is one that I just always... I know why, because the romance be romancing in that book. But I've always reread this one multiple times throughout my life.
Then we're on the TBR and nonfiction shelf. Hey, look, there's my little Alice, as well as my other mini books. These are just a bunch of my nonfiction. You can see those DK books there. I have read all of these. I've only read a portion of this for a research project in my undergrad, but I haven't read this one either. This one's new. I've read part of these two, but I have read all of those. Yeah, if you can't tell, I'm very into a lot of different history, but particularly cosmetic and fashion history, because that's what my undergrad was in, fashion marketing and merchandising. Let's move on to the TBR. This is actually a light that I won during a Disney cast event. First up, All Boys Aren't Blue. I planned on this being my nonfiction read for last month, and I didn't get to it, but it definitely will be on the list. I'm very excited to read that. I'm currently listening to a nonfiction about the asexual community. Then we have Dread Nation. You've probably seen all of these in some book hauls of some sort. This is one that I'm very excited to read because there's another book that this author has published or co-published recently about dragons, and I may be currently reading a book about dragons that I want to continue on. The Vibes. So yeah, I might show you that in a second. Second book, After Legendborn. I have the Sprayed Edges version. Love it. This is going to be read this week or next week. This one, yeah, these two are the ones I'm most excited to read, so these will be up next on the reading block. This one is just sort of a crapshoot. I was just like, this looks good. I'm probably going to regret that I bought it in hardcover, but it was on sale. So yeah, these are kind of my fantasy, and then this is the second book after The School for Good and Evil. Yeah, these are some bigger middle grades, so we'll see if I get to that sometime soon. I've been curious. It might be on the chopping block soon. Then I want to get into Talia Hibbert this year, and this was her YA debut, and it was on sale, so I thought, well, this would be a good place to start. Then this and this are the next two Timothy Janofsky books that he's released, and I think he's releasing another one this year. Definitely excited to read these. This is like one of the thickest books he's released, so I'm curious about this one. I did not realize it was time travel when I picked it up, and I'm not a huge time travel person, so we'll see how that romance works out. But this one is short and cute and sweet, so maybe this one I expect I'll rate this one higher. Then this is the republished version of K.L. Author's, I think, earliest Taylor Swift book, and I think it's based on, like, You Belong With Me, and it does actually feature a queer storyline in there, so I'm curious to see how that works out. But it is very fall-coded, so I don't know if I'll get to it very soon. And then these are some of the next books in the 39 Clues series that I will eventually get to, and then these are the first 3 books in the Finity Ring series. I'm pretty sure I've actually already read this one, and I've definitely read all of those, but I want to go back and read them to see what I think about them and, start from where I left off. And then this is an autograph book from Walt Disney World, but it features notes from my cast members when I left the DCP. So that stays there for right now.
And now let's go through my Kindle TBR. I do have a Kindle Oasis that is upside down. I do have a Kindle Oasis, and this is a library because I work in a library, and my dad thought that was appropriate. Currently, let's see what I have on the Kindle docket to read. First up, I have The Wiener Across the Way by Amy Ward. I will probably finish this today. It is the second book in the Cocky Kingston series, and it follows a series of football-playing brothers who fall for plus-size women. So if you're looking for a good plus-size FMC book rec, this one's for you. Then I have The Mistake by Elle Kennedy because all of the off-campus series has been put on Kindle Unlimited. I read the deal last year. Thought it was just okay. I don't think it holds up as well as I feel like a lot of other people saying it holds up, because there's definitely some things in there I'm like, I don't really like that this is said or done. But I thought I'd continue on because I'm like, it's been enough time away that I'm curious to see how the rest of the series continues. Then I have Hot for the Teacher by Monique Fisher. This was a book that was recommended via Kindle, and I work in academia. I hate teacher-student romances. Why?
Why? As someone who is actively teaching students, it disgusts me. But I like a good teacher romance in which teachers, find love. So this one is here. I don't really remember too much about some of this stuff, but that's on the list. Then we have Only for the Week by Natasha Bishop. This has been all over my For You page. It sounds messy. It sounds fun. Kimmy Books highly recommends it. So it's on the list. Plus, I think it's like under 300 pages. I think it might be around 200 something. Definitely going to get to it eventually. Then I have Lipstick and Camera Clicks by DJ Murphy. I don't really know or remember too much about this. I think it's some sort of poly relationship going on with a makeup artist and some other entertainment friends. Or maybe it's a love triangle. I don't know. Not really into the love triangle, so I don't think I would have put that on there. But definitely on the list. Then I have In My Dreams, I Hold a Knife. This is on Kindle Unlimited as well, by Ashley Winstead. I've just seen this everywhere. I think it's some sort of dark academia, and I've been wanting to get back into my dark academia vibes. So it's there. Then we have The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas. Everyone has been raving about this book for years in the book talk romance community. So I want to read it. I want to see what the vibes are. I want to see what's the polarizing thoughts. I have a feeling that it sounds like it's going to be something I really like. If not, it probably won't be less than 3 stars. It's really hard for me to rate anything less than 4 stars. And if you're in the 3-star range, you're still probably good for me. You're just like, I don't know. You're just kind of okay in my eyes. So there's that. Then I have Sunny Disposition by Deanna Gray. I read Outdrawn by Deanna Gray, and it was a queer sapphic romance between a bisexual woman and a lesbian. I think those are the 2 identities that we explored there. And I really enjoyed it. And everyone's been hyping up her little hockey series here. So I'm definitely excited to read that whenever I Finishing the Mindfuck series. I have the last 2 novellas to read in that. I want to finish that this year. Really enjoy it. Very graphic. Look up your trigger warnings for that. Then I have Children of Fallen Gods, which is the second book in the series, The Way of Lost Hearts by Carissa Broadbent. Honestly, I really enjoyed the first book, but I haven't gotten around to picking up the second book anytime soon. So, we'll see when that happens. The purpose of this video is, one, to hold me accountable on reading what's on my shelves and or getting rid of the things that I don't want to read. But also, I'm a girl who loves statistics. I love a little time series. So this is going to help me track through the seasons what it is I liked, what it is I've had on my shelves, and what I said I would be reading. Because in 3 months' time, when June rolls around and Pride Month hits and I have my queer book series and my queer recs, I'm definitely going to be hoping that I've read some of these things, because I've got some good books on the TBR. Plus, like I said, birthday weekend coming up, and I have a list of things that I want to buy. I'll just go through it. I definitely want to fill out the rest of the physical copies of Lauren Asher's books on my shelves. I definitely want to get the Love Light Farm series, the physical copies by B.K. Borison. Love that series. Read it. It's a great adult romance series. The first book is probably my least favorite out of the 3. But, and she's finishing it off this year. I'm so excited. And then, yeah, I think those definitely, and then I'm going to get the rest of Kimberly Lemming's Mead Mishap series. I just want to finish that. And for everyone asking if you say that, there is a sequel to A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow. However, it is only in hardcover right now, as far as I can tell. And that one is going to be a little queer, a little bisexual rep in it, I'm pretty sure. Don't hold me to that, but I'm pretty sure I know who the character who's following. And I will pick that up when it is in paperback. So y'all let me know what books you definitely want to see me review soon, or what books on my shelves are your favorites, and what should I put high priority, and on my Kindle. And